talk through this really quickly. I haven't had this for very long. I had a Syntrix 2 and I traded this for the Syntrix 2. I love the Syntrix 2. It was really good. It was an awesome machine. Really got on with it very well. Made a few tracks. Here's one. But it was kind of time for a change, and this offer came up to try this, and I'd had a want for this for quite a while, the Pulsar. And so here it is, and this is the second track. I've just made a second track. That should be here if you want to go and watch that and see this, but I thought I'd just kind of talk through initial thoughts, what I'm doing here, how it's working with the Move. So let's have a quick chat. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's such a deceptively complex machine, and there's 1,000 videos out there, and I've watched at least 5 of them. And everybody that does something with this is unique, and it seems to be the kind of thing that fits whatever people want to do, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm almost kind of overwhelmed by it in a way, because there's so many options. You'd think, oh, it's not, but the way that it's designed, there really is, in terms of sort of patching through. And I know my challenge is going to be to not follow my same pattern. And so that's why it's great that there's 1,000 videos out there to be able to get inspiration of sort of different patchings as to where it is. We'll listen to some of it in a second, but let's just go through everything that's happening here. Move is my master output, and I'm also sequencing the Pulsar with Move. Yes, I am. In fact, all of it. I'm doing some extra triggering over here on the hi-hats from some switching stuff that's going on up here, but it's also being sequenced through the Move. So let's just talk about that for a second, because this is really simple and easy and accessible to be able to use as a sequencer. There's another video where I've seen someone setting up the Digitact to sequence this, and so I haven't watched that, but I'll try not to go everything. But so I'll just do this really quickly and just sort of show you. What I started with on the Move was going into the kit on my first track up here and just choosing a basic empty drum kit. And then from that point, simply by holding down this little button and hitting this, I can choose my MIDI out. So suddenly my drum kit and this particular channel is sending MIDI out, and it's so easy to make this work. So I have got this doing my kick drum, and so all I did was hit the pad, hit learn, did that, bang, it's ready to go. And so now the Move is sequencing my kick drum, and then I did the same thing over here for the snare drum. And for this track, what I'm doing with the snare drum, I won't go into it, but yeah. So that was that. And then I did the same thing for the hi-hat. And then this fourth channel down here, I loaded up a sampler, and I did the same thing by hitting the 3 dots, the shift button, hit this, set this to MIDI channel, held down learn, and now this is triggering my bass, the synth, internal synth here. Super easy, super cool. And and that's kind of it. So I've got the MIDI clock coming from here. I don't know what time. Well, I've got a 66, tempo 66 going on, and that's kind of it. And so everything else is just kind of clocked from up here because this is setting to MIDI. So all of these clock dividers are all in time with this, and also when I press play, we're off and racing. So easy, so much fun. So that's it. Oh, just also in terms of routing, I've got, because this is mono, I've got a single mono 1/4 inch jack coming out, going into the ghost pedal. I'm not using the ghost pedal at the moment. All I'm doing with this is I've got the input, but I've got the stereo coming out of the ghost pedal. So stereo going into the Move here. So if I choose a channel and I hit record, you can see it's kind of, there it is. And again, really easy, really clean signal, no noise. I have used this in a previous track and used it kind of like as an opportunity to create a drop. You know, high pass filter, really super wet reverb, heaps of decay, washing out. So it kind of does that kind of thing. But for the track that I've just used, all I'm doing, I'm so sorry that you're underutilized, is just using this to split this from a mono to stereo to go into the Move. And then I've just got the stereo mini jack out, and that's heading over to where you're hearing it at the moment. So that's it. Let's just talk about each of the sounds that's happening. I do just have this triggering the kick. Couple of little hacks that I've seen with the kick around, like thickening it up, like in terms of taking the output and routing it back in. I've got the kick going at the moment, so it goes through this attenuator, and then the output modulates the WTF input. So kind of adds this overtone thing. And I've also seen it done with taking the out straight back into the external, but I'm doing something else with the external. So yeah, that's it for the bass drum. I've got those kind of little edit things that I can do, and because I'm running at such a slow BPM, all it's doing is long release. And then keep going, and the drive just makes it nasty and squelchy. And yeah, so that's fun. So that's the kick drum. Now the second thing, so we might as well just jump straight over to the bass. Really enjoying this bass. Oh, I'll jump back to here for a second. I do like the kick. I do like the kick in here. My ears are so trained to using the kickane from Nobula in the modular. So it's taking a bit to get to this, but I really do like just the kick with not much going on whatsoever. The drive, I don't know, like it's great and it's really industrial and can do kind of that stuff. But I just do like it without any drive. Down the bottom, volume up really high. Occasionally for extra drums of doom, bringing the effects in. Okay, sorry. Now let's jump to the bass. Amazing. Having it being controlled by the Move, obviously it's now you're probably going, why does that sound so weird? Because what I have done with the Move is I've actually layered it with a sample. So I sampled this into the Move, and now I've got this kind of pseudo pad thing going on. This is why I really like this setup, because it was just so easy to record that into a slot. I've kind of layered the two, added extra reverb and delay on that, make this big kind of expansive synth sound, where the rawness of the bass channel here on the Pulsar is still kind of cutting through. All I've got going on in here is some modulation happening for the shape and the warp. So just over here on the LFO, I've got the LFO clocked from, so it's synced in time. I'm using a sawtooth wave, so it kind of gives us this modulation. Kind of percussive modulation that's going on. So that's just modulating the shape and the warp. I haven't even sort of delved into the perk side of things yet. And listen to that. Like I said, this is kind of like the second sort of patch that I've gone through and built, but there still feels like there's lots to explore in here. And layering the two with the Move, layering the two sort of channels, it's just really exciting and fun. Snare drum. Not a lot going on over here. I do have the out going directly into the delay, so that can kind of mix that delay in. I really like how these effects, so having the reverb but the delay is always there, and as soon as you put an input directly into the delay and turn it up, it just heads straight out into the mix. Really, really fun. I even like the idea that you've got these, you know, these are controlling both the reverb and the delay settings at the same time. That's sort of fun because it becomes almost like another, well, it is. It's something that's kind of like a strange audio twisted effect type thing that's going on. So yeah, dig the way that works very, very much. And here the snare's kind of doing this, like the resonance on the snare channel is really nice with the bandpass filter, and it's making this kind of almost kind of woodblock percussive kind of sound. So yeah, dig that very much. And then we're at hi-hat. We're at hi-hat. So I do have the snare. Oh, and that was the other really nice thing with this, is that the velocity from the MIDI just hits the channel as well. So it's quite nice. So I do have this, and I'm kind of using the hi-hat as both hi-hats, but also as my snare, because the snare drum is kind of doing this strange kind of percussive thing. So I've got this other thing going on with the hi-hats where I'll just stop all the so it's coming through a switch. The Chaos is controlling when these guys trigger. So here it comes. So it just kind of drops this, and the clock rate is coming from, well, the rate that it's coming is coming directly from the clock. So you're getting these kind of nice things, and then when this gives a different value, it just kind of stops. So it's kind of coming in and out, which is very, very nice. And again, really beautifully hi-hat, high-pass filter, the Q, resonance. And then because it's sequenced, I can have these little tick-tick-tick-ticks going, but then at the same time actually kind of trigger these longer snares. So let's have a listen to all three being sequenced. Cool. The last bit is I do have the bass output coming into a VCA, and the VCA is coming out into the external input of the drum, and the CV for that VCA is also coming from the LFO. And so if I play both, you'll kind of hear, let's do this, I'll just play it from here. And that's fun because it's doing some really kind of crazy overdriving stuff. Must be going into the circuit and just distorting it, and then the two kind of slightly out of tune things are doing this crunchy tail that's happening. The final bit that I've got going on in this track is some vocal samples in this second channel. I've just got two vocal samples. And I wanted to just talk really quickly about the awesome function that I love inside the Move, which is the stretch function, especially on vocals. And so what I'm going to do is just choose an empty clip and an empty sample slot, and I'm going to go and just choose one of these samples. And lots of delay. Now, I'm just going to pitch it down a little bit. This is amazing, this stretch factor. It's a lot of fun because it turns any one of these samples into a little kind of mini granular synth, and so I'm doing that quite a lot with the vocal samples, is to kind of give it another texture and layer. And so if we listen to this, because I've got some of that done, let me just get rid of the hi-hats for a second. And you know, obviously no LFOs, and I've said this before, is you are the LFO, and so you just need to record all this modulation. So I really like setting an odd loop length for bars, just hitting the record and then tweaking these to be able to, yeah, just sort of mess it up. So I've got some automation on the start point, automation on the stretch factor and the grain size. If I click over into here, I've also got automation on the pan and automation on the filter. And so it's sort of doing, and I've got a high pass filter on this one. So it's always going to do something different. Cool. That's it. Thanks very much for watching. If you've got any questions about this or something you'd like to see me try on this, I don't know. I always say these things for viewer engagement, but thanks very much for watching, and thanks for everyone subscribing and enjoying my strange psychedelic doom, ritual, techno, whatever this stuff is that I make. Cheers. Bye.